Hi everyone, welcome to this video on lesson 11 of the variation and inheritance scheme of work. This lesson is about adaptations of plants in hot climates, and there's really very little new to say in this lesson because it follows the exact same format as the previous two adaptations lessons on predators and prey and animals in hot and cold climates, whereby there's just case studies that you can do in an I do, we do, you do type format. Draw students' attention to the main features. Draw students' attention to the main features and how they're going to help the plant survive in the hot climate, and then you can get them to spot the features and explain how that helps the plant survive with further examples. Some of these they might not spot straight away, so you might have to draw their attention. So things like having narrower leaves to reduce water loss and so on. But again, you'll see all of that in the slides. And yeah, the only other thing to say is just to frame this in terms of some of these broader ideas. Especially to do with kind of the idea of competition here. So like we saw in the previous lesson, if you've got the musk ox or a polar bear or whatever, an animal that lives in a cold climate, well, there might not be lots and lots of food available. So it's really important that they reduce, those organisms can reduce the heat loss so they don't have to eat as much to keep warm. Well, likewise, in the desert environment, there's not that much water, and there's lots of competition for water. And you can bring in that word competition here if you haven't done that already. But again, that's something they'll cover in more detail at Key Stage 4. But you can start to introduce this implicitly and say, well, look, if there's not that much water, but plants are going to need that, and it's a good opportunity to revisit photosynthesis here, because plants obviously need water for photosynthesis, then you can say, well, okay, there's two ways we can get it. Either we can have really long roots to gather in as much water as possible, or we can have kind of spiky leaves or needles or spines and so on in order to reduce the amount of water that is lost. So again, it's bringing back that idea, and then the final thing to say is to frame that in terms of this broader idea within the scheme of work, which is to say that yeah, all of this helps them survive in a hot climate, these different plants, remembering that if they can survive, then they're more likely to pass on their genes, and therefore the whole species is more likely to survive and persist than if individuals are dying out. So it kind of comes back to this broader idea that the purpose of life, or biologists assume that the purpose of life is to reproduce.